Okay, what we're going to talk about now is called proportion. Proportion uses ratios to solve some very important problems, and it solves a lot of real life problems. Some of them are simple problems, like we're going to start with about cooking and recipes, because that always involves proportion, but it gets much, much more complex than that. Proportion is really one of the most important math things you'll ever learn. And really all you have to know about proportion is it is two ratios that are equivalent. That's what a proportion is. It's a ratio that's equal to another ratio, even if they use different numbers. And so we're going to use the nutrition information on this carton of soy milk for our example. And so what we see is that a serving size of soy milk here is 8 fluid ounces. And we're asked the question, how much dietary fiber would be in 40 fluid ounces of soy milk? Okay, and so the first thing I want us to see, and we're going to do this on a bar model because they're so handy for ratios, we're going to see that if we had 8 fluid ounces of soy milk, let's call that a unit, 8 fluid ounces, then we look on the side and we see that in one serving of soy milk we have 2 4/10 of a gram of dietary fiber. But let's suppose you didn't just want to drink a serving size, because nutrition facts, you may drink more or less than what their serving size said. What if you wanted to drink 40 fluid ounces over a long time? That would be a lot of milk. If you wanted to do 40 fluid ounces, then how much dietary fiber would you get? Well, we know that every unit you drank, you would get 2 4/10 of a gram. But to go from 8 fluid ounces to 40 fluid ounces, we recognize that 8 times 5 is 40. So really it would be 8, 16, 24, 32. That would be 40 fluid ounces. And so the question is, how much dietary fiber would you have in 40? And we recognize pretty quickly that all we'd really have to do is say, well, it's 5 units each unit. If one unit is 2.4 grams, then we know that 5 units would equal 2.4 times 5, which would be 12.0. We would just say you got 12 grams would be our answer. 40 fluid ounces of soy milk would be 12 grams. And that's really all a proportion is. It's using ratios to find that missing part. And so what I want us to do, though, let's take it one small step harder, and let's find out what would happen if you had less than a serving. So the second part of our problem actually says, find the amount of dietary fiber in 4 fluid ounces of the soy milk. And so what I see here is I would start, it's the same proportion. It's the same ratio, and proportion just means we have the same or equivalent ratios. And so I still know that the serving size is 8 fluid ounces. So if I had 8 fluid ounces, I would still have 2.4 grams of dietary fiber. Now this time I want 4 fluid ounces. What I should recognize is that 4 is actually half of 8. And so the 4 units should be half the size. And we know I don't like to have unit bars of different sizes, so I could actually cut this top one in half and recognize that each unit up here is now 4 fluid ounces. And so if 8 fluid ounces, that's 2 units. If 2 units is 2.4 grams, what do you think 1 unit would be? And I hope what you've recognized that this is really just 2.4 grams divided by 2, and that each unit would be 1 2/10 of a gram. And so that is how we use a proportion. That's kind of an introduction to how they work, and they do show up a lot with recipes and serving size and that sort of thing. And so I really think they won't be too hard for you, and I do think that they're very, very useful, and they can be fun to do.